opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one.
Everybody make a joyful noise. Everybody make a joyful noise. You know how to make a joyful noise. Just clap your hands and lift your voice. Everybody make a joyful noise. Everybody lift your voice in song. Everybody lift your voice in song. Everybody lift your voice in song. You can do it, sing along. Everybody lift your voice in song. Now here's the hard one. Everybody clap on 2 and 4. Woo! Everybody clap on 2 and 4. Clap on 2 and 4. You can do it, give it more. Everybody clap on 2 and 4. Living big for God's the way to go. I said, living big for God's the way to go. Living big's the way to go. You can do it, let it flow. Living big, God's the way to go. We intend to make a joyful noise. Hup, 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 hup. We intend to make a joyful noise. We are gonna make a joyful noise. Clap your hands and lift your voice. Everybody make a joyful noise. Come on, everybody make a joyful noise. Everybody make a joyful noise. Yeah. Everybody make a joyful noise.
Now, no? Yes? You can hear me? Okay, great. We always got to make sure not only that we're plugged in, but we're turned on in order for the Spirit to flow through. I don't know. Anyway, you can hear me now. That's all good. So let's give some love to this band, shall we? Our music director, Joe Cinquina, on bass and vocals. Woo! And Lauren Dechtenberg on keys, also vocals and doing our reading. John Dittert on percussion. Our featured vocalist today is Margot Buchanan. Boo, boo, boo. And our special thanks to Jeff Watts on sound. Thank you, Jeff. So welcome to Ahava Center for Spiritual Living. Ahava is the Hebrew word for love, and we gather together every Sunday knowing that love is
Always the answer.
That's right. I'm Reverend Rainbow, so grateful to get to serve as your spiritual director and to be with you here on this glorious Sunday morning in the bluegrass. So we are a conscious community committed to curiosity so that we may provide a loving space to be reminded of the truth of who we are. So wherever you are on your spiritual path of discovery, please know that you are absolutely welcome here, yes? Yeah. And if you're joining us online on live stream, please say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from this morning. Don't forget to click that like, share, and subscribe button and let folks know where the love is today, yes? Even if you're in the room, you can take out your phone, you can take pictures and video clips, post, check in on social media, use our hashtags, and find us at Ahava CSL on all the things and share the love. So, it's so interesting, right? Talking about curiosity, how one little change, maybe it's a big change, but like just the space, I'm like, there's like this whole new space here that wasn't here, and I'm just feeling the energy very differently today. So just wanted to acknowledge that, but also wanted to say yay for the big screen. Can you see it? Is it good? All right. Even folks over here, I think, can see it a little better. So, and we're not blocking the light and the singers as much. So all these little upgrades are fun ways that we continue to grow as well. And if you are here for the first time, we give you a very special welcome. Thank you for being a part of this community and adding your energy to this space. Is there anyone here for the first time? We'd love to give you some love. Hand raise. No? If you're here for the second or third or fourth time, will you raise your hand? Look at that. See? We have had so many new folks joining us over the past few months, and we acknowledge you the first time, but the second and third time, that means you're really interested. So welcome back, and we want to give you some love too. That's right. And we are so grateful for all of our volunteers who come together to help create this beautiful community and this beautiful space. So I want to take a moment just to acknowledge anyone from the media team to those serving in the youth, to those making coffee, to those extensions of us at festivals out in the community. If there's any way that you serve as a volunteer of this community, please give yourself a pat on the back. And the rest of us, let's give them some love. Yes. And now is the time in service where we get to recognize that we are one. And we do this by taking a moment, maybe even placing your hands over your heart, and turning to someone and saying, thank you for being a reflection of me. And we have a fabulous vision and purpose here as well, so I invite you to repeat after me. We are an inclusive community.
We are an inclusive community.
Committed to global transformation.
Committed to global transformation.
Through personal evolution.
Through personal evolution.
And our purpose, let's do this one together. Ready? Wake up, step up, and make a difference. That's right. And today's affirmation, I'll say it once and then you can repeat after me. Today, I live life to the fullest.
Today, I live life to the fullest.
Yes, let's do it. All right. So let us now take a deep breath. As we move into our centering song and our opening prayer, which we led this morning by our practitioner, Patty Cooper.
In this place, my soul is free from the light within. I see all the joy, all the peace. Carry me. Carry me, carry carry me. In this place, love abides. Holy light, surrender me. All the joy, all the peace, carry me. Carry me, carry me, oh, carry me.
Breathing into this sacred space this morning, this beautiful air outside this morning, and knowing there is only one life, one mind, one energy, one source of everything. Today, I know that one as joy. I know it as harmony and peace. I know it as abundance and clarity and so much more. And knowing that that is the truth of the one, it has to be the truth of me. And it is absolutely the truth of each person hearing my voice right now. And I know that the day is blessed. The service, I bless it now. Our minister, Reverend Rainbow, blessings to her. I know that each and every person here is blessed. I know that this day and this service and all the things that will be spoken or sung are divine energy in motion. And I let it be by saying, and so it is.
All the joy, all the peace, carry me, carry me, carry me, oh, carry me. Today's reading is adapted from The Fifth Agreement, a practical guide to self-mastery by Don Miguel Ruiz, Jose Luis Ruiz, and Janet Mills. Assumptions are nothing more than lies that we are telling ourselves. This creates a big drama for nothing, because we don't really know if something is true or not. If we don't make assumptions, we can focus our attention on the truth, not on what we think is the truth. Then we see life the way it is, not the way we want to see it. When we don't believe our own assumptions, the power of our belief that we invested in them returns to us. And when we recover all the energy that we invested in making assumptions, we can use that energy to create a new dream, our personal heaven.
This is not a race. You don't have to run. You might even slow it down. Take a look around instead of chasing everyone. Nothing to prove, no point to make, but when it's said and done, you know in your heart that your song is sung. Don't go with your song still inside you. Oh, let it guide you every day. Hey, we all know that it's good to be humble, but don't mumble your life away. Oh, you could lose it all, but you'd still feel like you won. You might fall out of the sky, but you'd learn to fly just by reaching for the sun. No need to fret about regret, 'cause when it's said and done, you know in your heart that your song is sung. Oh, don't go with your song still inside you. Oh, let it guide you every day. Hey, we all know that it's good to be humble, but UK, don't fumble your life away. Hit it, Lauren. Don't grumble, no, don't fumble, ooh, don't mumble your life away.
We are just so blessed by so many talented people getting to bring us so many different styles and genres to open our hearts, and I just love it. So thank you, Margot. So fun. And as I was sitting there, I was admiring these beautiful flowers, so I wanted to start by just acknowledging that I had the opportunity to go to a friend's wedding in Chicago Friday night, and we just got back last night, so pardon my sleepy eyes. So these flowers were actually from their wedding, and as we were helping our friends, you know, it was a very much DIY kind of wedding, and it was beautiful. So we were helping them clean up and do everything, and they had all these flowers, and they were like, yeah, please take some. And I was like, oh, I'd love to bring them and get to bring your energy and that here. So these beautiful flowers are dedicated to Lydia and Samantha. So, yes. Yes. Love wins. And it was amazing. I mean, I called the wedding as we were dancing afterwards, and I was looking around, and I was like, you know what? This wedding could be called the queer clergy and their spouses, because most of us were LGBTQ plus, and either us or our partner were also clergy, as were one of the people getting married. And watching, talk about, don't just live your life, right? And watching the way that we're able to dance with our partners and be out there. And, at a wedding, there's always mixed company. So there's family and there's friends. And there were some on the sidelines kind of quietly doing their thing. And then the rest of us were just out there doing our thing. And just the joy of it all, and how weddings and these opportunities can hopefully be opportunities for people to just crack their heart open a little bit more, as those of us choose to just be who we are and to be the love, yes? So that was the moment I was having during that song, and looking at these flowers and just reflecting on that. But it has nothing to do with our actual topic, or maybe it does, but I'll take us there now. So this month we are talking about curiosity and how we can allow curiosity to be a superpower. And we're looking at Brené Brown's definition of curiosity, which is interest in a cognitive openness to engaging with a topic or experience. Curiosity is recognizing a gap in our knowledge about something that interests us and becoming emotionally and cognitively invested in closing that gap through exploration and learning. And so last week, I invite us to take this a little deeper and a little more personally, and I reworded it a little bit. So I want to share this personal version of the definition of curiosity. Interest in an openness to engaging with ourselves, our thoughts, and our world. Curiosity is recognizing a gap in our knowledge or understanding about ourselves and the world, and becoming emotionally and cognitively invested in closing that gap through exploration and learning. So that is what we are here to do this month, and might as well just keep doing it the rest of our lives, yes? And as I mentioned earlier, you may have noticed this new TV that we were gifted. And earlier this week, I want to give a special shout out to Jim Henderson for helping us with this. And so I met Jim here this week to install it, and it allowed me the opportunity to get to go up into our attic. So this was some uncharted territory that I had not yet explored in this building. And I must say, I now understand that it is very much above my pay grade to be crawling around in the attic. But the TV is installed and we are all safe. But I say this to say, everything. I look at life, I'm so curious how everything is a metaphor, right? So how often are we avoiding the recesses of our own mind? Are we avoiding going to some places in our own physical home, in our own world, because we don't know what might be stored up there? So when crawling around, I discovered several things. I discovered mostly a lot of empty boxes, which then my wife promptly reminded me that is very much a fire hazard, so we'll work on that. And then I also noticed these beautiful chairs. And so you may have noticed when you arrived today, there's some new plastic chairs out in our garden. And I was like, we can use these. So I brought down the chairs and cleaned them up. And, just over the past couple of years, we've developed and grown this beautiful memorial garden. So now we have some lovely places to sit and observe the flowers and be in community together. So you never know what you may find when you decide to go exploring in the attic. But trust me, it is worth it, because if we just avoid it, it's there anyway, and we don't know how it might show up in our lives. So Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this Science of Mind teaching, he puts it this way: deep within our subjective mentality are imprinted the memories of previous experiences. Hidden away in the inner recesses of our thought, generally unknown to us, are the silent causes of our outward conditions. But the law, and again, this is like the spiritual law, not like the police law. So the law, this aspect of God, right, that is always this cause and effect that's always saying yes. So the law is always acting, and we are ever perpetuating experiences that we no longer want to have, right? Because his laws are saying yes, yes, yes. It's just this energy that's creating as we impress upon it. So the law is always acting, and we are ever perpetuating experiences that we no longer want to have based on our thought. And what we need is a new outlook upon life, a broader vision, a deeper realization. And Holmes reminds us that this can only come from the Spirit that knows all things. So something within us knows. That spirit, that life, that energy, that cosmic isness, whatever you want to call it, that lives within us is always leading us and guiding us to experience life in a more expansive, broader vision and to live life to the fullest. But what gets in the way? Our own stuff. But if we just try to pack it away and hide it in the attic of our minds, it's still there. And eventually, it will show up in your life. And if we are willing to get ahead of that moment, to get curious and to actually explore consciously the recesses of our mind, we can discover what old boxes of BS live there. And then perhaps we can begin to unpack it, to heal, to transform, and to live more consciously from a clean and clear perspective on life. Yes? And you never know what perfectly good chairs may be waiting for you. Yes. So this brings us to today's topic on what's my motivation? Getting curious about what motivates our behavior, what drives us to do and be and say and act the ways that we do in this world. Beginning to get more conscious of actually how we are responding to life, having the ability to respond and not just reacting to what is showing up. And this allows us to better support ourselves in that healing and transformation process through a deeper knowledge and understanding of ourselves, closing that gap, right? So some of you may know that, 20 years ago or so in college, I studied theater. It maybe is no surprise to you, but I have a little bit of actor training and have always been, a performer since I was a young child. Love dancing and all of this. But one of the things that we learn as an actor is this idea of what's your motivation, right? So you're given a script and you have lines to say, but you don't just say things and because the director says, okay, you're going to sit in this chair and then on this line you're going to cross the room. It would be very boring if I'm like, hear someone knock on the door. Oh, okay, now the director tells me I just walk across the room and open the door. You have to know what is motivating your behavior. What is what's the story? What's the energy? What's the emotion? So it's very different how you would get up the chair and walk to open the door if perhaps this is a horror movie, right? And your motivation is that you've locked all the doors and you're hiding out because you know that, the villain is creeping around your house. So when you hear that knock on your door, the motivation to move in that moment is going to look very different in a horror movie than it would, say, in a romantic comedy. In a romantic comedy, perhaps your motivation is the anticipation of the arrival of your beloved. And then finally, the knock on the door comes. And what inspires you to move to your feet and how fast you get to the door, that's your motivation. Or perhaps it's a drama. And you're getting ready to meet the long-lost sibling you never knew you had. What's your motivation? What are you feeling? How do you move in that moment? So, as they say, art imitates life, or, as Oscar Wilde invited us to consider, perhaps actually life is imitating art. So through the study of acting, it actually helped me to reverse engineer my own motivations in life. Right? So in acting, we have to be so conscious and kind of crafting and creating and getting in touch with our motivations so that we can portray a story in a believable and real way that resonates with the audience. But to reverse engineer that in our life, what that means is being conscious, but it's kind of noticing it afterwards, right? So getting curious about, oh, I just noticed when that knock came on that door, my heart began to flutter, my palms began to sweat, and I was very nervous as I went to open the door. What's that about? What's my motivation, right? So it's like the same approach, but opposite. And it's so fascinating how we can actually reverse engineer this idea of what's our motivation as an actor to looking at our life and how much of our life we live kind of from an unconscious or default patterns of how we show up, how we respond, you know? And sometimes it's very obvious to others around us, maybe even more than ourselves, what we are feeling or thinking, because our bodies give a lot of clues. We portray a certain energy and vibration based on the story and the emotion that we have behind a certain situation or a certain relationship. So we get to look at how we can wake up and get curious as to what is real and true about ourselves in the world and what is actually motivating us, what is behind how we are acting and responding in a certain moment. So for me, this looks like deeply examining, getting curious about those things that I say and do. Just like an actor breaking down a script and writing in those beats and those moments of motivation, I can take a moment that feels kind of off afterwards, like, what was that? And then almost kind of break it down beat by beat and like, oh, when that person said that, I began to think of this story of this other thing, and oh, that's that trauma or whatever it may be coming alive. I just thought of an example of this. I'll share with you now. As we were driving to Chicago, and my daughter's in the back reading, and in the book that she's reading, it's a Halloween book, and they're doing pranks or something. So she asked us something like, Mom, what does it mean, you know, like something about egging or like egging a house or something. So Heather was like, oh, well, you know, that you don't want to do that because it's actually very destructive and like eggs take off paint and this and that and the other, you know, but it used to be kind of like a silly prank, but don't egg. We don't egg. I was like, but TPing, or what we called it, and when I grew up, rolling, it doesn't have as much, that can be a silly prank because, you know, and I'm like, yeah, especially if you use recycled toilet paper. It dissolves and it doesn't really hurt anything. Anyway, so we go kind of in this conversation, and then all of a sudden as Heather's telling her this, I notice something going on in my body, and then I start like kind of taking away, like, you know, yeah, but, and like saying my energy shifts, and I start saying some things about why rolling or TPing or whatever it may be might not be a good thing to do either, right? And all of a sudden, like, my energy got kind of weird. And Heather's looking at me like, I'm trying, like, you know, I'm working a point here, and you're kind of working against me is the moment we have in our eyes. And I breathe, and I stop, and then I was like, you know what, I realized, that when I was in high school, I had this memory, and there was a tragic accident that occurred with, you know, a fun prank, and a group of girls went to go TP another cheerleader's house, and then the parent of that house was very angry. They drive off, freaked out, turn off their lights. It's a windy road and crash. So I'm sorry for the content warning, but these are and all of a sudden that memory came up to me. So like when I'm not noticing why at first my energy's getting weird around this conversation of, bro, that could be, and then I'm like, oh, and just being willing to pause and be curious and then to have the safe space to be able to share that with my wife in that moment helps to realize how these things get, lodged in our brain, these emotional, these traumas and these experiences that we attach an emotion or a certain thing with one thing to another, which, is a unique experience, and it doesn't mean that that was a one-time thing, right? It doesn't mean that all rolling in a house as a prank is going to end in tragedy. But in my experience, that one thing led to something being in my brain until I was able to acknowledge it and to get curious about it. So these are some of the ways that I invite us to get curious, to really notice and pay attention, because it was kind of a subtle thing. I just started getting kind of cranky and kind of counterpointing for what's going on. So it's subtle, but our body, if we pay attention, is giving us a clue. Notice when we feel off and be willing to reflect. And you might not always have the opportunity in that moment, but a great time and a wonderful practice is before bed, right? And you're laying there, and if you're like me, you lay there for a minute and your brain's still my body may be tired, but my brain's like, oh. And so instead of just kind of letting it run as I'm trying to fall asleep, what if I invite in some conscious curiosity and just reflect back through my day? Okay, was there a moment that felt off? And get curious, well, what was I thinking? What did I feel? What was I, thinking in that moment? Where have I felt this before? Was there something I said to someone that perhaps wasn't coming from the highest place of integrity? And maybe there's something there to repair in that moment, right? And so as we fall asleep, and also what happens is our brain starts to quiet in that time right before sleep. We kind of have access to parts of our brain or mind or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, that during the active busyness of our day we might not always have access to. So as we are relaxing and as we are starting to fall asleep, it's a really good time to get curious, to reflect on our day, and to notice what were those moments that I perhaps was reacting instead of responding. And this level of curiosity, it invites us to really get to experience life to the fullest. Because if we shove things away in little boxes and corners because we don't want to look at them or feel them, it is taking a part of our energy and our vitality to maintain such control, to keep those things locked in place, that is actually draining our energy in some other ways. So as we do the work, and whether it be, with a trusted counselor or therapist, advisor, mentor, friend, find those in your life or your journal to explore the deep recesses of your mind and to get curious. Is there something unhealed that is motivating your behavior in a way that you choose to be more conscious of? And the same goes for our relationships, and and by relationship, I mean anyone we are in relationship with, whether it be the 10 seconds passing of a stranger or our deepest, most intimate relationships. Are we willing to clear the stuff out of our own mind that we have projected onto others? To get curious about those stories that we are making up about other people's behaviors. And sometimes it is so much easier to notice and see what everyone else's thing is, right? Like, oh, look at they're judging, they have this, because we don't want to deal with our own stuff. So we project it and we see it showing up on other people, and whatever irritates us about someone else, often, that's a clue, y'all. We say we're mirrors, right? Often if someone's certain behavior, right, their neediness or their whatnot, if we have a very strong emotional reaction to that, it may be a clue to look within. So this brings us to this idea of assumptions. That is just this, so profoundly articulated with the simplicity of the 4 agreements, but yet to actually live the 4 agreements, that is a life's work, right? So one of these that we heard in our reading this morning is don't make assumptions. And we are walking through life pretty much always making assumptions. We have a powerful imagination. And there's so many ideas and stories that we can imagine by just giving 2 or 3 bits of information that we see in a split second, and we fill in all those gaps with story and imagination, and then can create a whole world that we start to believe and really feel is true about someone else and our relationship or aspect of, how we relate with them, that we then become fixated on is right. We start imagining what other people are thinking about us and why they're doing what they're doing, because maybe it's something I said, was it me, right? All these stories we can make up about other people, and sometimes they're for the good, but other times we are creating our own horror stories and drama documentaries about our lives and others by inventing up these fantasy worlds instead of actually getting curious about what is true. Because these stories that we make up are actually only true in our own mind for those when we believe them. And then these assumptions, they start to kind of build on each other, and then they become then easily jumping to conclusions about why people do things because we have them locked in as, oh, this person is, wounded and needy. This person is bossy and, too much. Whatever it is, and then we see through these lens of their behavior and lock it in this story that we see them as. And we then begin to tell stories to other people instead of taking ownership of our actual perspective and our own stories. We begin to tell stories of these assumptions that we've made of people and other things, and they often involve blaming or projecting onto others all of our unhealed stuff, because it's so much easier. It's just so much easier than taking responsibility, y'all, for our healing, but we're doing it. We're here. You showed up. You're in the room. We are doing this together. So we start to tell these stories to others who will affirm us, who will believe us, who will, get on our side, justify us. And then just like that game of telephone, the gossip line of the story gets more and more distorted from the truth. Yet in our own worlds, making up the story, it becomes more and more true and real. The more we tell it, the more we become fixated on that started on an assumption on our story. So can we just agree to at least just try to stop doing that? Can we? Are we willing to be willing to just stop making so many assumptions and stories? So the way to stop this cycle is through curiosity. Creating that space, minding the gap between what we know and what we would like to know, or between what we know or think we know and what we don't even know that we don't know. Curiosity, it creates that space. When we begin to notice and identify our assumptions and our judgments on others and get curious as to what motivates us, on noticing our body and our emotions and why we say a few things, and we get curious on how and why we are responding a certain way to a certain person, taking that pause creates that spaciousness in which something new, this new energy of life that is always there, is sitting there like waiting to be shaped in a new direction. So creating that spaciousness, instead of keep plugging away in that same story about someone, instead we can make a new choice. Be open for a new insight, a new idea, a new aha. Be open to question our assumptions, to question what we think we know about ourselves, the world, a relationship, and allow room for wisdom and truth and insight to be birthed. But if we truly believe our stories like they are the solid truth, amen, and can never be, questioned, then we will live from that fixated mindset and experience a whole lot of suffering. Because the suffering comes in the disconnect between what we believe and what is actually true. Right? So us believing this story, that creates the suffering in our life. So last week, I briefly mentioned the work of Byron Katie. So I want to do a little practice right now. So Byron Katie, she has this process called the work. And there's these 4 questions. Is it true? Can I absolutely know it's true? And now this is when the part of our mind, the ego, you may call it, is going to want to defend and justify your story just like your best friend would, right? Like, yeah, no, they did that thing, and you're right, right? So when we start to question, you're going to notice this voice coming up, right? But the invitation is just to listen, to try to just soothe the mind, quiet a little bit. Thank you, I hear you trying to protect me. Thank you. And meditate in the moment, the silence, the stillness of this field we live in, of pure potentiality. And listen for that voice, that wisdom of love to create a shift that we can't even explain, right? So when we're willing to look at, is this true? And can I absolutely know this is true? Right? I had a mentor that always said, until I can see beyond all time and space, I don't know anything, right? So if we're willing to humble ourselves enough, to quiet the ego enough to sit in that place of, I don't know anything. Is it true? I don't know anything. I can't see beyond all time and space and dimensions and know everything that this person is going through and what motivates them and then me and then why there's this certain reaction, right? I don't know. So beginning to listen and be quiet until something moves us, this feeling of this inspiration of wisdom and love of spirit begins to inform, we'll feel as it informs our body and our mind, a lightness perhaps, a spaciousness, a clarity, a peace, a calm. And then we can ask, are we willing to see the opposite of our story as true or truer? This lets us kind of shift the perspective a little bit. And then the 4th question is, who or what will we be without that thought Or you could say without that assumption or that judgment or that story about the situation. Who or what will we be without that? So I invite you, if you're willing, if it feels like a good place and space, to just do a little mini practice now. And take a deep breath. Close your eyes if that helps you, or just find a place to kind of, soft gaze in the room. And the first thing that pops in your mind, right? What is a situation or relationship in your life that you're experiencing some kind of frustration or disappointment, upset? And it could be with yourself. And then just begin to notice, right, what's your story about it? Let your ego have a few moments to make its case. Right? What are your thoughts about it? What are your thoughts about this person or the situation? What's this story? And now take a breath. And ask, is it true? And again, just notice. Can I absolutely know that it's true? Breathe. Who or what would I be without this thought, story, judgment, assumption? Another way of looking at this is like, how does this serve me, right? What is the kind of unconscious payoff to believing this story as true? And again, taking a deep breath. Am I willing to see the opposite of my story as true or truer? This might look like, instead of they don't love me, they do love me. Or they don't love me, I don't love myself. What insight is Spirit seeking to reveal to you in this moment through this brief inquiry practice about this situation, so that you no longer have to suffer, so attached to the story, to the pain? Who would you be without this story? Are you willing to see the opposite as true or truer? Take another deep breath. And just move your body in a little bit. That feels good. Just kind of shake out that energy. Maybe place your hand on your heart or somewhere that, feels a little tender, or move something out. So this is one practice. And I've printed some worksheets, but you can also go online and just Google Byron Katie the work, and these worksheets are from her website. If you want to take this a little deeper, it lays out a journaling process to do this. So this is the work. And there's many different practices. This one I found very effective for me personally, and different versions of it. Make it your own. But the invitation really is to get curious about what's hidden in the recesses of our mind, to go explore the attic of our life in order to create the spaciousness for something new, a new insight, a new perspective to emerge. To not just sleepwalk through the world, continuing to tell ourselves the same story about who we are and who they are and what the world is, but instead allowing our fully grown mature, conscious, healed, healthy, and whole self to take the wheel of our life, to be curious, to know that we can do this. We can heal, we can shift, we can transform. We can look at what motivates us in order to make a new choice and to fully live life the way we desire. Are you willing? Okay, let's take it into prayer. So as we turn our energy, our attention to our inner world, we begin by focusing on the breath and just noticing how we feel right now. Breathing and resting in the stillness. Letting our thoughts and stories and judgments and assumptions fall away to the nothingness from which they came. And breathing into this place of possibility. Breathing into the awareness of love, of peace, of wholeness, as the truth that is true for all the time. The truth of the very essence of life itself is wholeness, is love, is peace. So this is what I claim and know right here, right now, what I see and know as true is love, is peace, is wholeness. So I recognize right here, right now, that this life is whole, perfect, and complete, and therefore this is who I am, because there is only one thing, one life, one energy, one presence expressing itself in, as, and through all. So I know that the very truth of each and every one of us is whole, perfect, and complete. The divine essence of life is peace, is love, is wholeness. And with this awareness, there is nothing I need to do but simply be. To rest in this truth and allow it to motivate me. Allow love to be the guiding force in all that I do, see, be, and in all that I am becoming. I let love lead the way. I invite peace into my mind and heart by dropping any stories or judgments or assumptions that I may have gathered along the way, along the journey. And I invite love, the pure vibration of love, to inform every cell in my being, my physical, emotional, spiritual body, to be vibrating at the highest level, the highest frequency of the divine nature of love. This love that heals all. The peace that surpasses all understanding. I am willing. I am willing to remember what is true about me and others. I am willing to let love lead the way. I am willing. And through this willingness, I let go. And I give thanks, knowing that a healing is happening now. It is happening now. And so it is. So it is.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Rest in God and say amen.
Yes. So I invite you to turn to someone now and to say, healing is happening now.
Healing is happening.
It's happening, y'all, whether you like it or not. All right. We have some exciting things going on. First of all, I want to thank those that were there yesterday at the Kentucky Black Pride Festival representing Ahava with our beautiful wings. Look for some more pictures on our social media. But special thanks to Seneca and to Colleen and Patty. Were you there? Yes. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But the folks that signed up, Seneca, Patty, Colleen, was anyone? Tina? Anyone else, Colleen, I should give a shout out to? I don't know. If you were there, thank you so much. And I loved also seeing the picture of other community members that were there representing their organizations too. And it just shows the weave of connection that we have of our shared values and the good works that we're all doing in this community. So next opportunity for that is this Saturday, Berea Pride. If you're interested in that, we could use a couple more volunteers. You can sign up in the community room there or ask me for more information. This Saturday night is the fall equinox potluck and celebration at the Isons. Make sure you sign up. Bring a dish. They're going to be providing the main, so just bring some kind of side dish or dessert or salad or treat. And there's going to be a beautiful ritual around the fire as well. And Kim and John D'Amato are going to be providing some music for that part. Bring a drum if you would like. And we're just going to come together as a community and celebrate. So looking forward to that this Saturday night. And thank you so much for the Isons for opening their beautiful land. And Colleen has a hand raised.
I think Berea Pride is 2 Saturdays.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you. So this Saturday is the Isons, and the following Saturday is Berea Pride. Yes. Dates, numbers, details. All right. This Saturday, we'll see you at the Isons. The following Saturday in Berea. And then the following Friday is our drag bingo night. That's going to be so much fun. You don't need to get a reservation in advance. Just show up and bring your dollars. They are $1 per card. And bring your 20s because we're also accepting donations. That all goes to benefit Ahava. And thank you so much for Corbell for hosting that and bringing some other community members in. Yes. A whole lot of fun going on. You can see it on the slide there. You can go to our website. You can read the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, you can sign up again on one of our connection cards and make sure we have your updated email. But basically, we have a blues concert coming up. We have a new class, Living the Prosperous Life, based on this coming up. We have a class called Ahava 101 for our new or newer members. We have a play coming up written by our very own Lisa Woods. Yes, yes, yes. You got it. Powerful. She's going to be doing a little reading excerpt for us soon to get excited about that. And our ongoing events, our grief support group, Way of Mastery study group, meditation and metaphysical discussion is coming back the first Wednesdays of every month. We're going to be doing it once a month for a while. So that starts up soon. Hybrid, so in person and online. Yes. All right, so all the good things come together as a community, because not only do we come together and heal and love and transform and celebrate on Sundays, we like to party. So let's turn it over back to the music. Somebody's got to keep me straight sometimes, y'all. Woo! All right, so now is our time in service where we get to participate in the conscious law of circulation. And we get to give from the overflow, knowing that as we give, we open our hearts to this energy to receive as well. So we're going to pass the basket in the room. You can also give online, and you can text to give. All the fun, beautiful ways. So let us now put our hands over our hearts. Yeah, just skip that whole page. Sorry. And repeat after me. Divine love blesses and multiplies.
Divine love blesses and multiplies
All that I have,
all that I have,
all that I give,
all that I give,
and all that I receive.
all that I receive.
I joyously contribute to the vision of Ahava,
I joyously contribute to the vision of Ahava,
knowing it returns to me multiplied abundantly.
knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly.
And so it is.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Grateful.
Hard to know just where it starts, how it grows from just a spark. It's wondrous. Feel it now with you and me, a gentle stream of energy. And I know it's wondrous. From dream to a wish to a very first try, from jumping to falling to learning to fly, each stroke of the painter, each motion that meets the eye. It's the magic that we call life. It's the stardust that lights your eyes. It's the flight of the butterfly. Right when you see it, can you believe it? It's wondrous. Oh, it's wondrous. Water flows, the current sweeps, constant change in you and me. It's wondrous. A moment comes for everyone to take a chance, and when it does, I know it's wondrous. The mother, she spins through her colors on ends. She shows us her dress and then changes again. Each shade of a sunset, each moment of passing time. It's wondrous. Each journey defined by moments of art, creating the dreams that we feel in our hearts. Don't know where it ends, we only know where to start. It's the magic that comes to life. It's the stardust that lights your eyes. It's the flight of the butterflies. Right when you see it, can you believe it? It's wondrous. It's wondrous. It's wondrous.
It's wondrous.
It's the flight of the butterflies.
Now that you see it, believe it.
We love you. You're a shining star. Wonderful. Just the way you are. We celebrate your sacred face. We love you just the way you are. We love you just the way you are. We do.
We would like to share our affirmation with you.
I am creative. I live in a world of infinite possibilities.
Yes.
And today we practiced that by learning a little bit about origami and learning about like
Ooh.
this little piece of paper. We can use our creativity, and it has endless, infinite possibilities about what we can do with that little piece of paper.
Cool. I love it.
So,
What did you make, Jennifer? Can I see?
made origami. I don't need the mic.
I was just I was like, what did you make, little one?
No, right? Blow up so we can show you what we can do with this.
Oh, okay.
she got to come and join us the last 20 minutes. It was
Yeah,
fabulous.
Oh. So,
So we
piece
learned a
of paper
bit-
can become a toy even.
Exactly.
A ball.
We learned a little bit about the difference between traditional and creative origami. I told them a little bit about when I got to be in Japan, and it was just a very lovely day about our creativity and infinite possibilities.
Yes, let's give them some love. Yes.
Oh, yes.
And you come and find them after service and get a closer look of these beautiful creations, because that's pretty cool.
I think they
Yeah.
wanted to show
What is
they
this?
made as
What
well.
is that? Oh, cool. Tell them.
I made a piano.
A piano.
A piano.
And either Aiden or my mom made this, but Aiden made this, and I have a bunch of others I made.
Cool.
We made
Well,
some
come and show
flowers
us
to
after
share with
service.
everyone.
Yay! So just a reminder that our practitioners are here to support you through affirmative prayer. You can fill out a prayer request, leave it in the prayer box there or online. And today we have practitioner Patty Cooper, who's available for in-person prayer support as well. And in addition, Dr. Patty Cooper and Dr. DeLuise Talon offer one-on-one spiritual coaching for a fee, and you can pick up their cards there to find out more. So let us now bring our service to the close. Stand if you may and then feel inspired. And repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in the attic.
Life is in the attic.
Life is in my motivation.
Life is in my motivation.
And life is in my affairs.
And life is in my affairs.
I accept it.
I accept it.
I am it.
I am it.
I share it.
I share it.
Just the way it appears.
Just the way it appears.
And just the way it appears not.
And just the way it appears not.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me
thank everyone for coming out today and for watching online. We're here every week. You know where to find us. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you again. Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy,